whirlpool. Wow, that's a serious whirlpool. Can you see that? That's way cool. Hello internets! In today's video I am going to give you a review of the LEEGOAL Blender. I'll tell you what I think is good about it, what I think is bad about it, and my general thoughts. Now, this is quite interesting because the company contacted me via Instagram and said, would you like to do a review of this blender? I'm willing to give it a go. So I haven't tried it yet. I haven't even opened it. I'm going to do this with you today. Let's read off the box. On the top it says it's 300 watts. It can do juice, grain, beans, 20,000 RPM, 6,000 milliamp large capacity battery, 500 mils capacity. The whole outside is waterproof and it has magnetic charging. So this is going to be interesting. Let's do this. This is my first time opening it, so we're doing this together. It comes with a manual, a cleaning brush that's very short. It's not very stiff bristles. Cable, there is the magnetic charging thingo. The cable feels nice, decent quality. Here is the base. I've never come across this blender before, so this will be very interesting to see what it's like. It has a cover for the blades. That's interesting. Oh, so you can store the blades separately from the top, the jug. Ooh, I get to peel this off. I love peeling these off. Press twice to switch on, it says. I'm glad I read that before I put it away. And here is the jug. The jug looks interesting. The only information I've seen on this previously is what I browsed on the website. Let's move this box to the side. That's everything that's in the box. So this is brand new plastic jug. It's an interesting shape. It has this sort of like carafe shape, which I wonder how functional that would be for fitting large pieces of fruit in the top. Screw on lid with cute little silver trim. And this little handle carrier thing. And this, a lid for the base. Screws on. Oh, it's come to life. And the little lid goes on top. Ooh. Kind of noisy. Not sure if it's any noisier than my other blenders. Not that way, obviously. There we go. And it is magnetic. That's kind of nice. Let's have a quick look at the instructions. Start switch, charging port. It's a full electrical schematic. Okay. We do have this. It says to cut your fruit and veggies into small cubes because it does have quite a narrow opening. And if you were putting ice in here, I think they'd have to be fairly smallish cubes of ice to fit in there. Although I suppose, if you really wanted to, you could load it up at that end and then put the blender base on top that way. Before the first use, charge it for more than 4 hours with the magnetic charging cable. I guess I'll do that before I actually test it out. This is for cleaning the blades. I'm not sure how helpful this would be. It's got a little pokey bit. I suppose you can get hard stuck on bits. Okay, so the display on here, it'll count down to 20. Very simple instructions, fairly basic, which is all you need really. Charging cable brush. It doesn't mention this lid in the thing. Oh, no, there you go. Okay, it gives an error message when you try to use it with this, so this is purely for protection. I was wondering if maybe you could do like small amounts of nuts or something in here, but I guess not. Well, that's my unboxing. I'm gonna try this out, make sure it's all charged up, and I will tell you how I go with it. So stay tuned for that. as you saw in the unboxing, I was sent a blender to review. I've got a list here, so that's why I'm looking down. So the cons of this. It's an interesting shape. I was quite intrigued when I saw it and I thought it looks really pretty. However, the prettiness in the form factor of looking like a carafe does have some drawbacks. It is kind of tall, so when you've got a normal tap, that's not a very sort of tall tap with a lot of distance between the bottom of your sink and where the water comes out, it means that it is a little bit hard to rinse this because you have to sort of get it down at just the right angle to be able to get the water in it. Because it is narrow at the top, that means the base is a little bit wider. And I have found for my little hands, it's a bit harder to grip this because my hands don't go quite as far around the base as it would with a blender that's not quite as wide at the bottom, which the other blenders that I've used are not quite as wide, and I find it easier. But I suppose you can hold it up the top here, but then this space also is quite wide. So, you know, there's ways to get around that. The narrow neck is actually quite annoying to fill. If you are using protein powders and using the scoop that comes with the protein powder, I think you will find that this is way too small. I will show you a normal spoon. This is just a regular teaspoon and it only just fits in there. If you've got that piled high with something and you're trying to tip it in at this angle, you'll find that it's very easy to spill things around the sides. If you were using a protein shake scoop, I think your only solution would be to unscrew it, balance it on its lid, and then fill it in the fat top end. That's what I've done on occasion with some things. The lid is not very tall, and I have found that when I drink from this, because it's not very tall and because the bottom of this rim is not rounded at all, it's quite square, it does feel a little bit weird on my lips. It's not a big complaint, it's just something that I've noticed. It's a bit angled. If you pour it into a container, then that won't be a problem for you. The A on my label came off before. I've got some video of that. See the A? It was stuck on the rim. And I went, what the hell is this? And then I realized it was the little letter A and it's come off. That seemed to come off really fast. It's a little sticker. I expect that this is going to come off fairly fast if one letter came off already. I've used it, I'd say, on 6 or 7 different occasions. So that's a bit fast. The label coming off is not a big deal. It really doesn't affect the use of the blender, obviously, but that's just something you might want to consider. One of the other things about this is that when you use it to blend, you have to wait around 8 seconds between each blend cycle. It counts down. What it does when it turns on, you see there? It starts counting from 1 and it goes up to 20, and that's a full blend cycle. And then when you finish the blend cycle, it flashes the 20 on and off for approximately 8 seconds, and you cannot blend while it's doing that. This is the blinking you have to wait for between blends. See, nothing happens. On the inside, there's a little doohickey thing there. I don't know what else to call it. Just inside there you can see there's a tiny button, and that is where the sensor is for making sure that this doesn't turn on without the jug fitted. The rubber gasket then also has that little raised bit to fit over the top of the doohickey. Because it has that little concave bit in there, I have found that when I take this gasket out to rinse it, food has gathered in that tiny little spot there. It's not a big deal, but you do have to pay a bit of extra attention to it to make sure it's gone. One thing which is not so great, there is a way to avoid it. Sensor is activated. However, you want to screw this on further than where that sensor is activated, because if you're only screwing that on as far as when the sensor first goes on and it flashes to show you that the jug's on tight, it will actually leak. So you don't want to stop when that starts flashing. You want to tighten it much further, because I have used this, I've tightened it just to the point like there, and it's not tight enough. If I do anything in that, it loosens up quite quickly, and so you really want to give it another squeeze to make sure that's tight. That's all of the cons. The pros. I actually have found it very easy to clean. The rim that I just showed you, it's not terribly deep, which is a really good thing because it makes it easy to clean. And the also with this funny little doohickey here that I just showed you before, that makes it remarkably easy to get the gasket out because you can just pull on that. Some of the other blenders I have, they're quite deep set, and when you want to clean down under the gaskets, I've found it a little bit difficult to get them out, and I have to sort of poke in there with the back end of a fork or whatever to get the gasket out so I can clean the gasket and clean down underneath it. So that's a good thing about this one. The same with the lid. It's not terribly deep. As you can see there, it's not a really deep lid. So that's an advantage of that shallow lid. The shape. There's no doubting. It really is a pretty shape. I like the shape. If you enjoy this shape, then that's a great thing. You can overcome the disadvantages that I've mentioned. And you know, you just have to consider how tall this is. There is an option for how tall it is. If you are blending something and you're taking it away with you, or you haven't finished and you want to put it in the fridge, then you've got this lid which goes on the bottom, and that means that it's a hell of a lot shorter because you're saving, like, you know, almost half the height of the actual jug itself. And that gives you a bit of sort of wiggle room to be able to store something in the fridge after you've blended it. I really like the colors that it comes in. All my others are black. When I chose this one, I decided that I'd go for something a bit different, and I got the light blue. I think off the top of my memory, there are 3 different colors. I'll put them on the screen or something. So yeah, the colors are really pretty. Another advantage of this one that the others don't have is that when the jug is off, it came with this cute little cover. That means you can store this in your cupboard and not worry about anyone poking their fingers with the blades. It won't turn on, as you can see, when the cover's on, so it's not actually for blending anything in here. It's purely just to protect your fingers from the blades. From what I can tell from earlier reviews of this, I don't think it came with this cover, so that is a really nice improvement, I think. It is completely waterproof. It's got a magnetic charging cable, and that means there is no gap in here. It's completely flat, so that means that no water can get inside. That's a really good advantage, and it's really nice and easy to use the magnetic cable as well. It's also easy for it to come off, I guess, so you do want to be cautious about where you're plugging it in, that it's not going to just unplug, to make sure it charges all the way. This finger grip thing, I like it. Actually, it's a lot easier to get your fingers into this one because it's already an open sort of shape, and you can just slide your hand in really easily and grab the top. And because the top is narrow, it also is a bit easier to carry as well. It's not as thick as the other ones. The other ones you'd have like about this thickness, and you sort of got the carry strap thingo, and your hand doesn't go anywhere near around the top of it, and it feels a bit less secure. So with this big shaped carry handle instead of the ones that sort of are flat like that, it's very easy to slide your fingers through and grab the top. The other thing about this finger grip is it's really easy to take it off because it's just stretchy. Basically just pull it, stretch it over the top, and you can take it off for cleaning it, or if you just don't like having that finger grip there, and that's really nice and easy to do that. The other two I have are fixed. You can't take the little carry strap off. One of the other things that this comes with is this dinky little brush, which in the manual it says it's designed to clean the blades in there. And yes, I suppose you could. It's very, very soft. So honestly, I don't think it's going to be that much use if you've got any food on there that's actually, you know, like gone hard from not washing it straight away. But what I've actually found this useful for is the pokey little end on it is really great for getting the gaskets out. Not only on this one, but because this one's pretty easy anyway, you really don't need anything special to do that. But on my other blenders, this will be really handy. Pokey tool. Everyone loves a pokey tool. I have just completed approximately 30 blends with this. It says low. Do you see? So that means low battery. I waited a moment after it said low before, and it did do another blend. So yeah, 30 blends, that's pretty good. That's not bad at all. And final thing that I've got on my list is that with the small top and the big bottom, there is no mistaking when you clean it which gasket belongs on which end. Some of the blenders have the same top size and the same bottom side. In fact, I think most of them are the same size at the top and the bottom. It is specific on some of them which gasket goes on the top and which goes on the bottom. And because they have the same circumference, you have to sort of remember which one goes where, because otherwise it won't fit right. With this one, you're not going to get the gaskets mixed up. That's my review of the LEEGOAL Blender Bravo. If you are interested in this blender, I have a discount code. The code, if you would like a 10% discount, is Coralie10. So I'll put that on the screen so you can see it, and I will also put a link in the description. My general thoughts on it, if that helps for your decision making, is that I like it. I think it's about as good as any of the other blenders. The only drawback is that it doesn't seal very well when you take it to the point of where it indicates that the jug is on properly, because the jug is not actually on properly. By that point, you have to push it closed more. So that is a bit of an issue, but if you're aware of that, then you know how to solve it. So that's it. Yeah, thank you for watching, and if you are enjoying my content, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Okay, bye. The dog's having a drink. Oh, I just stabbed my finger. That's so cool.